Please remember to give me a name if you'd like to go to um, Oche for the Singspiration or the Song Fest. Please give me a name.
Take your time, you know. Remember, take your time. Don't rush. No rush. Take your time. Take your time. It's okay. Cut the subject. No, look at the subject. Can you please come forward a little bit, please? Can you come forward, please? Brother Roger, Sister Marlene, can you come forward, please? Nobody behind that screen. But don't rush it. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. All right. Let's make this eventually happen. Put a prayer for us, please.
Let us pray. Lord, our kind and merciful Father, Lord, as we're gathered here this morning in yet another Bible class, Lord, I pray, Lord, that we'll be attentive. I pray, Lord, that we'll be interactive, Lord, and that we'll learn from each other, Lord. I pray, Lord, that we'll remember all that practiced and studied, Lord, Lord, that from strength to strength with each other. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All right. Last time it was suggested that we would look at procrastination as the next hard condition that we will deal with. And so that's what we want to do today. I've prepared a document. We're going to have our exercise as well. If I'm suggesting that you can download this, if you prefer to work from your phone, if you go to tinyurl.com, tiny, TINYURL.com /do-it-later. And you can get this document. So it's tinyurl.com do-it-later. And you can get this. It has the full thing, all the advice, all the assessments, everything. However, we can still, if you don't want to use your data, we can work here. All right? So, I don't want to be reading though. All right, so basically, if we're looking at procrastination, sometimes we think about procrastination as inaction, that we don't, we're kind of lazy and we put off and, we don't want to do anything. However, procrastination in our study today will show you that it is something maybe significantly more, something maybe personal, something maybe there's a pattern that we need to look at. So procrastination is not necessarily just sitting back and not doing things. Sometimes we are very busy, but we are really, in my definition, our understanding of it, will be procrastinating. Yes? That makes sense to anybody? How can I be fully busy, fully engaged, really active? I'm actually tired, and you could come to me and say, you are procrastinating. Anybody want to explain that? Okay. Anita?
It could be said that you're procrastinating if you're busy doing everything but what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so that's the end of the class. That answer. Fully. Okay, so it's the act of, let us look at the definition, act of delaying or postponing what matters most, often in favor of what is easier, safer, or more immediately rewarding. Excellent. So that's the whole thing, is that we might be very busy, but we are not engaged in doing what it is that we really ought to be doing. All right. So, as it says, procrastination is not necessarily poor time management. It's really a question of, so as usual, we want to start. I've made this 140, so a little piece of the thing cut off at the edge, but you can read most of it. All right, so we're going to do a little exercise. Similarly to what we did with the last one. So we have a 10-point set of prompts that we're going to ask you to go through. It's not active. You can't actually score it online. So you're going to have to keep the score separately, right? How about document with your finger? Huh? Sorry? Okay. All right. All right. So it's not to find fault, etc. What we have done with this thing is that we don't have the extremes. We don't have the always or the never, because nobody is going to choose those. So the 5 points are: you score 1 if you say, this is not typical of me, right? This is rarely true. This don't normally happen in my operations. So that gives you get a score of 1, okay? Score of 2, this happens on occasion. Yeah, that's true sometimes. The score of 3, this is true many times, generally true. 4, yeah, this describes me quite regularly. And 5, but this is how I operate. This is me. So we're good? So 1, this is not typical of me. This is rarely true. 2, this happens on occasion, sometimes true. 3, this is true in many situations. 4, often true. This describes me quite regularly. And 5, this strongly reflects how I operate. Everybody clear with the rubric? In other words, if the sentence or the phrase look like you, 5. If it not really look like you or don't look like you at all, 1. So that's the scale. We good? Okay. All right. And you have to find a way to keep your score, okay? You have paper, pencil, anybody needs something, or if you have good memory, I don't necessarily know you can trust your memory. Mark it in your hand, like when you go back to school, right in your hand middle. All right. So here we go. I often delay tasks even when I know they are important. 1, no, sir, this don't look like me. 5, yes, it's true. This is really me. We good? Everybody have a score? All right. All right. The next one, I tend to work on smaller, less important tasks to avoid the bigger, more important ones. Yes? So we have some important things to do, but we're going to choose the ones that not so important, because I don't want anybody to say I'm lazy, I'm not busy, etc. So I might have to take out the garbage, but I see a 1 plate in the sink. Let me wash the plate, because that's easier than take out the garbage. Yes? Okay. Number 3, I am good, I love this one, at finding feasible reasons for delaying action. In other words, when something is to be done, I'm a master at finding a reason why it don't have to be done now. A good reason that I can live with, and I could tell somebody why I may not do it right now. Excellent at finding good reasons for delaying actions. Everybody's there? If that is you, that's a 5. If that is not you, it could be 1 to 5. Number 4, I know how to avoid feeling guilty when I procrastinate on tasks that align with my values. Sometimes people feel guilty. Oh, we should have cleaned my shoe. No, should have. No, that don't bother me. When I don't do the things, I'm cool. I find a way to just deflect from it. So I don't have that burden of guilt to say I never do this. I just don't do it, and I just find a way to just get my mind clear about it. Everybody good? Is that score? You have a good score, Brother Ron? You have your score going? All right. When you reach so far. I often allow others to distract me from what is important. Actually, this was supposed to change to I allow myself to be distracted from what is more important. Use a deeper one. I allow myself to be distracted. There's a version that is later that was, so I allow myself to be distracted. So I know I'm supposed to do, but PSG playing Real Madrid. Work. Come on. So it's not just the person to distract you, but I allow myself to be distracted. All right. No Bleak Seville around right now? Work? Okay. All right. Number, where is 6? I often wait for the right mood or ideal conditions before starting important tasks. You have to get the vibe. The vibe's not right now. So I have to get the right vibe, and then I can get into it. But I don't really want to start. I'm not into that. Yeah. So, right vibe. Number 7, I notice when I procrastinate, it often relates to tasks that challenge me on a deeper level. Yeah. So if I look at something I want to do, it's all right. But you see, when something I have to really examine and go deep inside and challenge me, maybe it's a skill that I don't have. Make it wait a little bit. Let me think more that a little longer. All right. Number 8, I often delay tasks even when I know completing them would bring me peace of mind. So if I just get this thing done, or license the car, no matter wait and make them police seize it. But yet still, no man, tomorrow. So, number 9, I tend to justify delays by telling myself I need more information, even when I might not. Yeah, I don't have enough information. I really don't know how to do this thing. I need to gather more information. I don't want to rush this thing, I don't want to rush this thing. I rarely pause, this is my favorite, to ask myself, what is the most important thing I can do now? So that's not a question that I ask myself. What is the most important thing that I can do now? Yeah? So the answer to that is, if you never ask yourself that question, that's a 5. All right? Everybody has a score? Anybody want a revision? Go back to the original, first ones? Are we good? We're good. All right. So here's the guide. If your score is between 10 and 25, big up. You're purposeful and proactive. You appear to take consistent, timely action on what matters. Procrastination is minimal and generally well managed. So you're good. You are really a go-getter. You make things happen. All right? Middle category. Inconsistent. You demonstrate some intentional action, but occasional delays or distractions may be limiting your overall effectiveness. So you could really be a star, you could really be a lot more productive if you'd just be more consistent. That's it. So you get it sometimes, but not often enough. All right, so we all come to the third one afterwards, okay? That's okay with everybody? Now we can deal with this one a little later. The people who are in this category don't mind, you know. Right? All of those who score 40 to, to 50 don't mind. We can talk about this one afterwards. All right, so your responses suggest frequent patterns of delay or avoidance. These may be affecting your clarity, progress, or sense of fulfillment. So you're not necessarily lazy, but sometimes you're not really clear as to what to do. Right? And yeah, that's it. I'm not exactly sure what needs to do or, whatever. And sometimes some things just come in the way. Really fully ready to go, but some distraction come and whatever. All right. So we're good. So now we're going to move to some guidance. Why are we doing this? Because this whole issue of procrastination is not just about not being busy. As I'm suggesting, I want us to look at it at a deeper level because it can affect, impacted by courage, for example. Sometimes it's not that we don't want to do it, but we're just afraid. Yes? It can be lack of clarity. We talk about that as well. It can be our grounding. Because if we just had the faith, if we just trusted God enough, maybe we would go and do it. Yeah? And then there's the whole question of obedience. And when we're talking obedience, we're not just talking parent, child, no, or whatever it is. We're talking about obedience to God, right? So those are some of the factors that can impact the whole issue of procrastination and can, in fact, impact our relationship with God. So that's why we need to look at it, all right? So it is about, as it says here, moving from avoidance to alignment, closer alignment with God, and from hesitation to purposeful action. So when we look at this exercise then, not just look at what it is that you're delaying, but also who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? Because that is what it is. It's the being, is not necessarily action. It is a question of who am I being? If I am someone who keeps on delaying and putting off things, who am I? So it's not just a question of putting off this thing. What is it saying about my character? What is it saying about me? And if I'm somebody who is active, who is doing things what is supposed to be done, who am I becoming? So that's how I wanted to look at it then, and to understand then that this could be a moment for transformation of your whole life, where you're not just looking at saying, okay, fine, man, I tend to put off things, but what does it say about yourself? What does it say about you? All right. So we're going to look at some coaching with respect to the three groups. But before that, I want to do some spiritual perspective on this thing. So when we look at this through the spiritual lens, again, it's talking about not only about the delay in terms of who we are, what it is that we are doing, but who it is that we are becoming. We talked about that already. Okay. So it can represent resistance to growth, hesitation to obey divine instructions, or a failure to honor our time. This is critical. Our gifts and our calling. Bear that in mind. You remember the talent? Parable of the talent? That's part of it. Because God has given us time as well. How are we using the time? If we put off things, are we not then misusing the talents that God has given us? That's a question that we have to ask. All right? So, scripture often highlights not just the danger of idleness, but the urgency of obedience, diligence, and faithful stewardship. So look at it from the other point. Not only are we trying to look at, say, we're not using our time properly, etc., but is there a need, a demand, a cry out from God for us to be obedient, for us to be diligent? and for us to actually be faithful in our service. So we're going to look at some scriptures. This is my favorite one. Really love this passage and this version. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Yeah? What do you hear when you read this passage? Anybody?
That talk without action will not benefit you. But if you put in the actual work and be intentional about what you're doing, then you will reap something beneficial to you.
Suppose somebody says that if you put in the work, there's no guarantee that you won't get the profit. You work hard all the time and not see no profit. What's the point?
I think you'd get result regardless. It's just for you to interpret that result and learn from it.
But I don't see it. They don't from when I hustle and do all of this work. I'm still a sufferer. Not now going for me. What's the point? Brother Rowan, there's a man under the coconut tree on the beach, relaxing. And somebody says, how come you have no ambition, whatever it is? Why don't go out and find a work and do something useful for your life? Okay. Beside him on a chair is a man, old man, tired now, etc. Work hours upon hours upon hours. And now he's able to come and sit on the beach. You see a difference in the terms of the two lives? What's the difference that you see?
I don't know, one waited how much years to enjoy my life, and the other just decided to. I'm still waiting.
So I don't know. That's a cynical approach to the point is, why should I work these 40 years to come sit on the beach when we can do that from now? Okay. All right, that's not helpful in a study on procrastination. But the whole idea, though, is the scriptures encourage us. The scripture says, put in the work, and there's profit. But if you just talk, then there is nothing that you'll get from it. So planning without action leads nowhere. Intent without execution is spiritual waste. That's the other thing, that you commit, you can say to yourself, yeah, I'm going to do this, and you have all the intention, but nothing follows that. Or whatever it is that's following, it is not planned properly, it's not executed properly. So that's the first thing when we look at procrastination from a spiritual point of view, is that there is a responsibility to put in effort, but also to put in effort in a strategic, a planned way, rather than just hope that things will happen. So that's one passage. I want us to spend a little bit of time dealing with this one, the Israelites. Yes? And we laugh at them, right? And we kind of wonder if we could be like that. Where they are in slavery, right? They are in slavery. They complain, they're bitter, whatever it is. And they get worse punishment when they are there. And God takes them out of Egypt. And there is this scare of the hoofbeats of the chariots, where you're looking before you and you see sea, and you're hearing behind you horses, Pharaoh's army coming behind you. So you know you're dead now. There's no question at all about it. And you start to curse. Why have they taken us? Why you never just make them kill us in Egypt? I forgot through all of this. And then miraculously you are taken across. But consistently doing there, you complain. Yeah? When I have no water, you get water. No food, you get food. But yet still you complain. To a point where even Moses' sister is part of the thing to say, well, boy, we need another leader. We don't, this can't work out for us. What was that? In terms of, here it is, the promised land is like Spanish Town. And what they had to do was to go to St. Thomas and come back around to the promised land, That's exactly what happened to them, Where they are here, promised land is there. You guys can just go to the promised land at Spanish Town. But because of your foolishness, all the way you have to go east and come back around, go through Negril, come back down to come at Spanish Town. That's what happened to them. What is it that we can learn from why we never just listen and obey and go a Spanish Town? When we have that kind of thing, where God is telling us something to do, etc., and we're saying, no, there should be a better way. This is not a good way. I don't want to do this way. Is that something that's happening to us? Where we can identify maybe a particular thing where we know we're supposed to do it, but we're not so like the way that it looks like we have to do it now. There must be an easier way. There must be a better way. There must be some other way to deal with this. Anybody can identify with that? No? It's not part of your experience? Where you're supposed to do something and you put it off because you feel that there's a better way. This is not the way to go. And I'm not going to try that because my experience in the past may be better. Think of something maybe health-wise. Yes? Let us say we're supposed to exercise and go do something, and the doctor tells us must exercise, and we say, no, you have to get up in the morning. Yep. And then the sickness, the illness comes, or the condition gets worse, and stop eat this. No, we can't stop eat that because whatever. Is that vastly different from the Israeli experience? Anybody can cite an example as close to?
I'm not sure if it's in the same vein that you are speaking in terms of what I'm about to say, but I think while you were talking, I was thinking of, back to Stephen's sermon in terms of the lest I forget, because you are asking if maybe there's a better way. I guess what immediately came to mind when you asked the question was, do I remember the God that I serve, his capabilities and what he has done in the past? So I'm not looking so much at if there's a better way. It's whether I trust that being obedient maybe is the better way. Incidentally, as you mentioned, this Numbers 13:14, and maybe I guess this is the crescendo as it relates to where God was upset with them in the same Numbers 14 verse 4, after they didn't believe that they could take over Canaan. The Bible said, so they said to one another, let us select a leader and return to Egypt. So that's a blatant slap in the face as it relates to what God has done for them all this time within while they were traveling the desert, what he had done in terms of the miracles that he did in Egypt in order for Pharaoh to release them, the widening of the Red Sea or the clearing of the Red Sea. So it's like all of that is just for them to make that statement, no, just a slap in the face to discount everything that you should have remembered, you know? So I guess that would be my answer. Similar vein to what Stephen said, whether I trust and believe that God can do what he has done in the past.
Exactly. That's part of the point. And I remember something now. At least I think I have an example now of something that would be there. But just think back, this is the same idea. That if the person who take us out of Egypt can open up a sea to let us go through, is it possible that this person could provide us with water? You know what I'm saying? Is it possible that this person could find something for us to eat? That's the thinking, is that how could I forget? But let us look at the example that came, to me now, is that we also have a track record. We have had problems, things have happened, and God has taken us through. But now we have a problem, and there's a difficulty finding a way forward. But instead of relying on God, etc., we're going to find some illegal or unethical way to deal with it. Yes? Let us take a question of a visa. Let us say we really want to go to the States, etc. And we're not so sure what's going on. And there is a bandolo thing that says, okay, I can get the visa to you. We're going to take out our money and pay to go instead of trusting God and, whatever it is before us. So that's basically what it is. Or the driver's license. So instead of take out our money and go and Brother Grenell and his people train me, you just pay a man of money and get the, get them in the picture, and I'm there. Spend a whole part of time and go through all sorts of things. Now, whether I can drive after that is no matter, but I have a license and I can go and get a job as a driver of a tractor trailer. That's what I'm saying is, have I forgotten, as you say, what has happened before? And we use that. We use that to disobey. Procrastinate. Engel has this little hand thing. I tell him I forgot to school, Put up your hand and never not see no finger.
No, I think I think you said the point that where I was going. If I look back before they even crossed the Red Sea, I can see possible that some of them didn't see Moses when he threw the rod down and it became a snake, and they may not have seen the things that were done. But I would assume that the families would be saying, all right, these plagues that are taking place is because of Moses and the Yahweh. So it should be a sign that, hey, God is with this individual. So when Pharaoh's army is approaching and they see the sea behind them and the army have what seems to be certain death, then they begin to wonder what is really happening. But after seeing now Moses, the Red Sea, as everybody witnessed that, it should be more assurance there, to say, as I mentioned, that what God can do. I think for me today, it would be not about not forgetting what God can do, but more, will he do it for me in this scenario? Is this what he wants? Or can I work with his timing? I think that a lot of the times that's why we don't put the trust that, God knows what is best for me and what he wants for me, and his timing is best for me. But we don't want to work with the timing of God. And so because of that, if I want the visa and I see the opportunity to get it some other way, or the license, or, pay off somebody to do something, we choose to do that in the moment, because, a lot of the times that's why we don't put the trust that, God knows what is best for me and what he wants for me, and his timing is best for me. But we don't want to work with the timing of God. And so because of that, if I want the visa and I see the opportunity to get it some other way, or the license, or, pay off somebody to do something, we choose to do that in the moment, because see it as a way of getting what we want and what we desire, but not holding on to what God would want us to do. Sometimes that is the situation.
I want to take it from a different perspective. Speaking for myself, person, and probably others are familiar with it or can attest to it. I think it's more like for example, Stephen's sermon this morning and other sermons. We hear a good sermon and it stays alive in us for probably, we call it Jamaica the 9-day wonder. And we don't see anything happens. And we hear sermons upon sermons and we say, boy, I want to do it. I want to make this change. I want to start to do this in my life. And it's like it becomes a circular reason and a circular thought, but nothing happens. And we keep doing that over and over. And sometimes it begs the question of a congregation. Is that a sense of procrastination? We keep hearing sermons and somebody used to say, is that we sermon proof for ourselves after a while? The sermon doesn't impact us or just impact us for a couple of days. And it just goes through the window, nothing happens. And so I want to relate to that from the standpoint that you go back to the proverb passage, that we keep talking, we keep listening, we keep learning, we keep talking, we keep listening to Bible classes and these lessons, but nothing seems to result from it, from a practical and upward moving result. And so it begs the question that well, for me, what is the impact of all that we have been learning, all that we have been understanding? How is it showing in our lives? And it then asks, are we then more just, as Proverbs says, we just talk, but nothing happens. We don't do the work. We don't do what we're supposed to be doing. We are saved to serve, but we hear all these sermons, all these Bible classes are geared towards that end. But then if we are honest to ourselves, then what are the results of all these sermons, of all these classes? Very good class we have been doing for the last and classes before. But can we honestly say to ourselves, what impact are these classes having on my life personally? What impact are these classes, or even the sermons, having on our lives as a congregation? How are we moving forward practically and positively to make changes in our lives? And that, to me, I don't know if it relates to your procrastination topic this morning, but personally, that's how I feel. And I don't know if others feel the same way. I'm just sharing that thought.
Sure.
I think that sometimes I know for me, it's not. So the visa and the driver's license situations, I find that those are not the ones that you struggle with, because those are kind of black and white. You know that that's the wrong thing and it's an inconvenience that you're trying to avoid. So those are a little bit more black and white, but it's the ones that are a little bit more nuanced. Like I will use the passage with Jesus, Luke 14, verse 5. Which of you will have a donkey or an ox fall into a pit and will not promptly pull him out on the day of the Sabbath? I think for me, it's the decisions that are more nuanced, where my failure to act, and whether that act is something that is, there's a question mark as to whether or not this is what God would want me to do. But my failure to do that action will cause so much more negative and adverse consequences, not just for me, but for others and those who I'm responsible for. I think that is when the discussion gets a little bit more challenged, where when your action can cause, it almost seems as if it's more harm. And yes, you say, okay, well, you were going to trust God and just know that God will lead through. It gets a little bit more challenging when it's not just you alone that you're trusting for, meaning that it's not just your consequence. It's a consequence of those who you're responsible for and those, yeah, that's when it gets a little bit more nuanced and yeah.
Tough questions, I agree. Yeah, so it's not, as we said earlier, procrastination thing is not a question of just you being lazy, you just not doing anything, whatever it is. Sometimes there are some really challenging situations. The question that we have to look at is the pattern. And go back to Brother Howard's as well. Is there a pattern when we do the analysis? By the way, those of you who came in later, this document has everything, right? It has the assessment, so you can do it. You go to tinyurl.com, tinyurl.com /do-it-later. tinyurl.com do-it-later. All right? So that is there. There's the assessment there and the coaching related to the assessment. Everything is there. All right? Okay. So the others have done the assessment and sort of know where they are, but you can do that when you go home. All right. So there's another one. So we're going to get to the coaching with respect to the assessment, but we want to look at some of the biblical experiences. Look at Jonah. And this one, Tammy, is not, your one is really very, very challenging. But look at Jonah. Jonah get the message. Jonah says, I know God. The God that I know not going to kill off these people. So why may I waste my time to go tell them that? When God, me know that God is merciful. He is not going to wipe them out. Okay. You can see it as straight disobedience. But in his mind, he's saying, man, I'm going to go frighten these people, do all of this thing. And in the final analysis, God never killed them. Yeah. So that's Jonah. Do we have a Jonah moment in our lives where we are saying, I know I'm to do this? Yeah. You see, 100 lane. There are people there that, but they're not going to pay no mind. And people just want to go a party and dance and whatever it is. When we go up there for the next thing, then, get shot in crossfire, whatever it is. So that's our Jonah now, is that there is a call to go and do something, but we know the end result. And so, why bother? Let us save the time and just no bother. But you can identify with this at all. These are genuine moments. It might not be as stark as Jonah's situation, but there are definite times when we know that we should do something, but the feeling is that it's not going to make a difference. The result is not going to be positive, so why bother? Why bother? Yes?
I just want to make a little contribution to something similar to Jonah's resistance. In a very practical way, we're given the message of the gospel to share it so that men and women may be saved. And Ezekiel, I think in Ezekiel 33, said that we're watchmen and women, if you will, of the people. And if we see the destruction coming and refuse to warn the people, then their blood will be on our shoulder. However, if we warn them and they refuse to accept, then we're free from that. And I was just here thinking about it. I may not have taken a boat to run away like Jonah did from taking the message. But how often do I refuse, whether deliberately or otherwise, to share the gospel of Jesus? And if people are dying every day, it means that the message of Jesus Christ, the gospel, is also urgent, that it get to these people before they make their exit. And this type of procrastination is serious because there are consequences for the person who procrastinate as well, based on Ezekiel 33. So whoever be doing the closing prayer, pray for me that I don't get involved in that. And I'm dead serious because I don't think we get the message, and Satan has tricked us up, subtly get us busy, doing a whole heap of other things without taking the message that we're given as ambassadors of Christ, to take to people. And I'm hoping that, because I'm learning, honestly, I didn't even look at the procrastination from this perspective until you bring up the Jonah passage and looking at the Ezekiel passage, that, it's something that we have to look at, because I don't think we get the message that we might lose our soul because it's not just about being saved and we are good. It's also about we are given a mandate to take the message to others, and it carries a little bit of urgency.
Amen, brother. Clear. Yes, you learn. How do I develop an appetite or an attitude to appetite, right? It's more appetite to like what I don't want to do. Or because I find that's why I procrastinate. If I don't want to study, so I will find the time. If domino come up again, play domino. If I have to watch Netflix, I can watch Netflix. And I know if I don't study, I'm going to fail. But so I'll wait till the very, very last moment to just, and get it done. Is it that, and how do I develop that attitude to the thing that I know I must do? I believe if I have a natural liking for it, outside of the fear of not doing it and know these are the results, I just think there's something else that has to be there. If I have a genuine like and a fund, sometimes also, I think also, the thing that I also procrastinate on is when I feel that there's a lack of a skill set. So I will push it off because I keep feeling that I don't have that skill set as yet. Until I'm back up in the corner, no, I have to get it done now. So I have to just do the presentation or something. So those are the things I think, if we can find out how to do that, then it would help persons with saying, all right, share the gospel, go and do those things. That's just my thought.
I just want to build on Engel's question, because what about it being a procrastinator? What about if you still get things done? So it doesn't matter that you procrastinate. When push comes to shove, whatever the scenario, the situation, you get it done. You get it done on time and you execute well. So how do you develop a mentality to not procrastinate if that's your results almost all the time?
Okay, I'm thinking of what Brother Enkel asked, and as it relates to, let's say, maybe having studies or going out and evangelizing to others, I think collectively, the church could play a bigger role, especially where maybe your procrastination is maybe based on the fear of you not being accepted or the confidence that you don't have in yourself. The role that the church could play, like my fear, usually if I'm fearful of something, once I'm prepared, it's just like a good scout, Cub Scout, be prepared. So I think that if I'm prepared, it takes away that fear. So I think maybe what the church could do is to maybe build that foundation where persons, I know like in other, in denominations, there would probably be studies or study groups or persons being given the tools or being prepared to go out and to minister that sort of thing. So that is just my perspective.
Tough questions. All right. Let us look at some of the stuff that has come up here. Don't claim that I have answers. But go back to Engels' thing. Part of it is a question of discipline, right? So if we live our lives where we only do what we like, that's the gratification, immediate gratification. One of the things that we have to teach is delaying that gratification, that by suffering, if you want to call it, by going through this unpleasant period of time, at the end of the day, it's going to benefit you. So the fact that I would prefer to go and play up and down instead of studying, that sacrifice is going to mean that I get the certification. I'm going to get whatever it is down the road. So that's part of what it is. But it's not something that is easy. That's something that needs to be inculcated very, very early. I tell the workers that there's a little test that very early in the infanthood, almost really, where you can actually use that as a predictor. There's a study, longitudinal study over time, that shows that if you can show delayed gratification at this early age, then your chances of success are great. So we did that with Natty. And the test is, you put a nice cookie or whatever it is on the table, and he's sitting there, and you say, do not eat it, don't touch it, all right? And you go away, and you watch, and watch. And after a while, you come back. If the person doesn't take it, then they have a great chance of success, because it means that they can delay gratification. Not many infants at that age have the capacity not to do it. And so they are blessed. They have a success story coming up on the road. But on an adult level, that's the same kind of idea, though. Can I forego the gratification of going to play the game of domino? Can I not watch Barca PSG and do the work that I'm supposed to do? No. I mean, really and truly, no. Can I really do that? Because if I am able to do that, then I can be a lot more productive. So it's a question of discipline, and it's a hard grind, in the sense that you have to then find a way to say, yes, this is not what I want to do, this is painful, and actually go through it, because at the end of the day, I know I'm going to reap the benefits. Not easy. And it's a certain set of mindsets. That's part of what the coaching people do. It's not easy to do. And especially if as you're getting older and older and whatever it is, and in your ways, it's not so easy. But that's really is the secret, is that you have to find a way to be able to say no, what is there. And we talk about, and we will get back to it when we get into the coaching, is let's not do what is easier. Let's not do what is more convenient. Let's not do only the things that we can do well. Let's go focus. So that's yours one. Your one is that I'm getting it done. Eh? Sure.
Brother Engel point, I've been there, done that, and what I've found, I passed the exam, but I don't remember nothing. if it's a situation where you want to remember and able to use the information in a very useful way, you have to find the courage, the strength, the discipline for study it. There's a brother here, as a member of this congregation that I've spoken to. And while he was in school, he actually studied 4 hours every day after school. 4 hours. And therefore, when it was for him to do his exams, he's almost ready for the exams already because he has the knowledge. He's not just studied to pass, he studied to know. And I think that's what makes the difference in terms of the discipline.
I came here in peace. I don't know why Brother Grenell come to provoke me. Because Brother Grenell, there are a lot of my exams that if they give it to me the hour after, no, maybe the hour after, but maybe the hour after, but definitely not the next day. Not the next day, please. So, well, yeah, but I still have the paper. All right. Okay. So somebody says, what's this big deal about procrastination? I get the results. I'm done. I get all the things done. So I procrastinate, but at the end of the day, I get the thing done on time. Is that procrastination or is that a system, a strategy that you have, that you know how to organize yourselves in a way that gets it done on time? Seriously, in that, it might not be procrastination. Is that if you're meeting your deadlines, then you know what it is that you're doing. So it could be. So I wouldn't call that procrastination. The problem would be for me is if you're missing your deadlines, if you're not as productive as you could be. It depends on what it is that you're doing. Why you're calling it procrastination?
Brother Smith, I want to respectfully disagree. You'd have heard the term highly functioning alcoholics. You have highly functioning procrastinators, right? And that is exactly what Akila described. And I know it because she has described me, right? And the challenge with that, Akila, is when you reach to a point, like my age, you can't do it no more. You reach to a point where you're buck and you just start to struggle, right? And the problem is because you have developed that and you have developed your confidence system in that you fool yourself that it's a system. It's not a system. It's not a system that your mind is agile and you're nimble and you can do it. When you reach my age, your mind is not nimble no more and you can't do it and then you start to struggle. That's one. Two, I'm talking passionate because I'm feeling it right now. Two, the second danger of it is you think you're doing well. You think you're doing well. The deadlines are being met, right? Because you can burn the midnight oil and you get it through. You don't count the cost of what you are losing in the time that you are catching up with the work, right? So how much time have you had to lock up at work when you should have been at home helping with homework? How much time did you spend because you didn't schedule the work properly or schedule the exams properly to study for them that you should have been spending some time with your wife or your husband, but instead now you have to miss something important because this is the only time you can now study because you have procrastinated, right? I think you should weigh the cost very carefully because if your ultimate goal is simply to meet the deadline, yeah, I used to pride myself and don't worry, ask me nothing but how it gets done. It gets done, it gets done on time. You can't fault it. I'm starting to count the cost now, right?
Thanks for your wisdom, sir. That's a good point.
I was pretty much was gonna say what David say. I'm a chronic procrastinator, but I'm a star. I am going to make every deadline, pass every exam. I'm a star. However, there are going to be nights where I don't sleep, cry, anxiety catch me. So I guess that's my opportunity cost, no? But I don't think I think it's procrastination. I know it is. I have a problem. I know, but I think it's something psychological with me. That's something I need to fix. So that's pretty much what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if if David's situation is similar to everybody else's, but for example, with me and work, I think I can identify it as procrastination because one, there's a saying that says work expands to the time given to it. So if I know I have 2 months, then there's no rush for me to do it. But I started to identify it as procrastination because in that 2 months you don't know how much other things will come up, and then now the week of when it's all right, I've scheduled this task to be done in this week. 5 other things come up, and now you realize, say, I did have this 2 months ago. I'm wait till this week to do it. So you literally wasted 7 weeks to try to do it in the 1 week that unfortunately 7 more things come up in this week that you have to finish. So it is, you can, as David said, you can get away with it for so long and no more. It eventually catches up to you.
One of the assessment prompts relate to saying, I have to be in the right mood, I have to get the right vibes, I have the right state of mind in order to start it. That was one of the things. So that's what happened. I have 2 months to do the thing. Yeah. When the right vibe gets me, I will get to it. I don't want to come and play around it now because my mind not really ready, but it will come like a sermon. I know I'm a sermon, whatever it is. And you say, yeah, when the time comes and,
Good acts of faith encourage us.
Right? So fundamentals, ready? Are the teenage groups. All right, so we'll have the teenage class first. For class, please.
All right, now we'll have summary from fundamentals class.
Good afternoon, church. In today's class, we looked at love and the Greek words for love, which is eros, philia, storge, agape, philatia, ludus, amania. We looked at the definitions also. Eros is sensual or romantic love. Philia is brotherly love. Storge is love between family members. Agape is unconditional love. Philatia is self-love. Ludus is flirtatious love. Armania is obsessive or possessive love.
The passage from 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 is enthusiastic the importance of love in our actions and words. Without love, even the most impressive altitudes are sacrificed or meaningless. The description of love as patience, kind, humble, a powerful reminder of its value. Thank you.
We have a memory verse for week of the next, which is 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5 and 6.
All right, and do we have any for big people class? Big people class? Anybody for big people class? The teacher? Interest.
So we were doing procrastination, and we will discuss it next week.
All right. There should be an announcement from Sister Grenell. Where is Grandma? Where is she? Yes, right there. Announcement.
Good afternoon, everyone. Next week, Sunday, is our fellowship, and we just want to tie up a few loose ends. After service, we'll have a 25 minutes break. During that time, persons can get a little pick-me-up. Some of the ladies said they wanted porridge. So I have an idea of how many ladies wanted porridge. Any of the men or the young persons who want porridge, put up your hand. So I don't want us to come and then you say you want porridge and we don't have enough. Okay? All right, put down your hands. Huh? What? Cornmeal? Cornmeal. What? Plantain? Okay, so you'll have the cornmeal. Okay. In addition, we'll have tea and bread, crackers, and jam. Yes, that is pick me up. So that when we start the activities, we don't want anybody to say they are hungry and they want food to eat. So that's pick me up. The activities after that, I know our ladies group, we have our items. And I spoke to Kali to ask for the young persons to come and sing the national anthem and the pledge. So if you don't know the pledge, find it and practice. The men, I don't know if the men will have any items. The men, are they going to put anything on display? So let us know if you need a table to put your things on display and give me your item or give it to Stephen. What else do I need? Oh, the colors. We know a Jamaican color. So you don't have to wear, if you don't have it, the full color. If you have a black, we'll have ribbons so you can get the colors ribbon. You want to put some on your waist, or put a little bow on your whatever. What else now? Oh, the menu. Rice and peas, chicken, fried, because none of the young people love fried chicken. Fried chicken, jerk chicken. We have some curry, goat, and we have some jerk pork. And the fish, and we have fish for those who don't eat meat. Vegetables, we'll have that. In addition, I know the ladies will have roast breadfruit, ackee and saltfish. We have sprat, we have plantain, rundown. Those are sides. Those is not, you're not gonna get your plate full of those. Those are just sides. But we should have enough for everybody. I'd ask Brother G to ask the men to provide the cups and the plates and the sorrel. Juice. We'll have juice. Oh, we'll have juice also. We'll make juice, but we want the men can have Jamaican and have sorrel. So the men will, Brother G and Stephen will organize that. Okay? For the ladies, we need to look at how we're gonna set up. So afterwards we can meet and deal with that. And the men will waiting for your eye. Oh, after we eat an activity, so you have your lunch after the activity. We don't want you to rush home. Domino, Ludo, Snake and Ladder, Hangman, so those games. So we can come and fellowship and, all righty? Thanks, ladies. Thanks, everybody.
And just to add that we really want this to be a memorable occasion. So we want members to invite out family and friends, want to have a really good time. Let people realize that, you know, as Christians, we can have a wholesome time together having fun. You know, invite, because I can tell you, if we invite a man to church, he may not come. But if you tell him that after church, we might play some dominoes, he might just very well come and hear the gospel. And Paul says, whatever I could do to win some, I'll use that approach. So that's what I'm saying. So reach out to your friends. Tell them we're gonna have a good time after the worship, but you come to the worship and then we have the activities after. All right? Reasonable? All right, thank you very much.
All right, and just a quick reminder, remember youth group gonna be watching a movie, so please prepare yourself for that. Have a little refreshment, and then we'll be back for the movie. All right, so we should sing the song now, smile a while, give your face others. All right. Oh, birthday song, okay. All right, so we're gonna sing happy birthday to Brother Kirk, who we know is not here, and Sister Sharon Roper as well. So after 2, 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the both of uno. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Now bless. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. Happy birthday to you. Sorry for try short stuff on the song, my bad. All right, we're dismissed. Have a good day, everyone.